some travel arrangements necessitated a change in order of the things that we needed to complete for today. Mrs. Çetinkaya, Burcu Çetinkaya, who really masterfully conducted these 2 days of conferences as the master of our ceremony, will have to leave early. So we wanted to invite her to the floor. If Burcu might please join us.
Thank you very much.
Burcu, I'm sure you heard how grateful we are for the efficient conduct, timely discipline that you subjected us to keep to the schedule. It was, from all perspectives, have been remarkable 2 days, and your contributions to it, as I said, have been substantial. And also, on your presence here, I'd like to thank you and the team of Agro TV, where you are engaged, for your services. So, before we send you off, we have a record of recognition for you and also for Agro TV. So I'd like to first present them to you, but please let's have a good round of applause for our Master of Ceremonies, please. This one is for you personally, for this work, and I certainly hope that we will have the opportunity to work on future conferences about Ukraine, but in the environment of peace and how to progress reconstruction as we win the war in the end. So thank you. And also, before I give the floor to you, I also want to present you with the recognition, a record of recognition for Agro TV. So you will, on our behalf, please pass our gratitude to your colleagues as well. Thank you very much.
I will. Thank you very much. I don't want to keep it long. Thank you very much for your patience. I know there was some, it was a bit last minute for me, but I'm very proud and happy to be here. And hopefully, as Mr. Şevki Arjuna said, we will rejoin in a peaceful conference with a lot of hopes into the future. And I'm hoping also from Agro TV side, we're trying to establish an international agro media network, and I hope that Ukraine will be a major part of it. Thank you very much.
And before you go, this is from the entire organization and also from our audience to you. Please enjoy it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.
And please excuse the look of your temporary Master of Ceremonies compared to the professional one, but I will try to do the last bit. The next and final panel is have the topic of regional perspectives for international business, and our moderator will be Mr. Michael Edgar, who is the CEO of SelectChicago. And the panel will address how are the regional chambers of commerce dealing with cross-border business interruptions. What are the major challenges that their constituents are facing? How can governments assist in addressing those challenges? And are there opportunities which will emerge from the crisis, and how these can be harnessed? And I will invite the panelists to the floor. Mr. Arda Batu, who is the Secretary General and Board Member of TURKONFED. Mr. Batu. Mrs. Olena Shyrokova, Vice Chairman of ICC, United Arab Emirates Commission on Trade and Investment. Igor Stefanet, who is the CEO of Invest Moldova. Mr. Temmuz Yiğit Bezmez, Head of Project and Business Development, French Chamber of Commerce in Turkey. For, sorry, or Stefan? Oh, Eren, okay. And Mr. Onur Ünlü is our final panelist from TURKONFED and ESCON president of EODER. So I would like to have Michael to conduct the rest of the panel, please.
Thank you. It's gonna get loud.
So,
Turn that off. Okay. So good evening, everybody. My name is Michael Edgar from SelectChicago. So I got on a plane about 5 days ago to come to Istanbul, and I've been very excited to come and listen to the speakers over the last couple of days, and then learn about the history of this great city. And so can everybody hear me well? Yes? I know it's late, it's Friday afternoon. And this is an exciting panel. This is really kind of going to tie up in a nice bow what we have been learning about the last couple of days and thinking about how we can take away these things about what we've learned about Ukraine and how we can implement them. So, we're a little bit about SelectChicago. SelectChicago is about helping inbound and outbound foreign direct investment to the SelectChicago area. Chicago is interesting, kind of like Istanbul, where it's really a crossroads in the United States. Outside of the city of Chicago, there are 256 municipalities. So when we think about Chicago, we think about the city. That's 2.3 million people in the city of Chicago. But outside the city of Chicago, there's 256 independent municipalities that are about 9.6 million people. So that's a large trade area in of itself. Also, part of the Chicago area is the benefit of having 50 trade offices from around the world. So by coming here, I was able to meet a lot of my counterparts where I work with the Lithuanian trade office, Japanese trade office, the Taiwanese trade office, and we're able to talk and bring back dialogues here. And so what's great about this panel is we're going to be talking about the regional chambers and how they are dealing with these cross-border issues and coming up with some opportunities that we can discuss. So I'm just going to introduce each person in turn, and basically I'm going to say that their name and their company, and they're going to go start with their early remarks. So first up is Arda Batu, Secretary General and Board Member of TURKONFED, and that is the Turkish Enterprise and Business Confederation.
Yeah, I think that's good. Thank you for that kind introduction, and thank you very much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here, and as our moderator said, I realize it's a Friday afternoon, so I'll try to keep it light and practical, and I'll try to be as succinct as possible. I serve as the Secretary General of Turkish Enterprise and Business Confederation. It's a confederation that functions at the national level in Turkey. We represent about 30 federations and about 300 individual business associations across Turkey. East, west, north, south, all across Turkey. We have 300 business associations that are members of the confederation. And that translates to roughly 50,000 individual businesses across Turkey. So categorically, we are the biggest independent, non-partisan network of businesses in Turkey. We take pride of that. And now coming a little bit to the function, I think we have 2-3 minutes, correct? Sir? Yeah. Let me talk about not only TURKONFED's function, but maybe the function of business associations, regional or national or international. I think it doesn't matter if you're a business association in Senegal or Turkey or Finland. Ultimately, there are these functions that you need to, that your members want from these associations, these networks. One is they need insight from you, especially in times of crises. In times of crises, as everyone knows, there's really a cloud of information, most of which might not be correct. It might lead the businesses in the wrong way. So I think the members, at least our members, they look at us for the correct information and insight. It doesn't matter if it's the COVID crisis or now, today on the agenda, it was discussed, the Ukrainian crisis, times of war. It doesn't matter really what kind of crises. Ultimately, businesses are affected from all of these crises in different ways. So I think the number one function that businesses look for in regional or national business networks and chambers of commerce is this insight and access to information that can help them, take the right decisions in their businesses. Two, which relates to the first point on information, is they look for policy, and I think government also looks at these institutions for policy also. Governments, again, it doesn't matter if it's Turkey or Sudan. Ultimately, the governments and the bureaucrats, they might not have access to the situation on the ground with the businesses, and that's fair. But what I think we need to do as chambers of commerce or these business networks is help the governments, the public officials, and the decision makers in them designing the policies. So in that respect, I think the second function we can state here is policy design and or lobbying, the lobbying function. The third, all of these are of course interrelated, is capacity building or training. Again, we're talking about access to information, we're talking about policy, but then we need to assist the businesses in adapting to the new environment, whether there's a crisis or not. That might be a training and green transformation, as Onur Bey, that's his function at TURKONFED. It might be a training on digitalization. It might be a training for women entrepreneurs, and the list goes on, financial literacy and so forth. But these institutions such as TURKONFED, one of the main functions is assisting the business in adapting to the new norm, crises or not. Some of these functions are dwelled on by some chambers, some of them are not. As most of you know, I think, some of these chambers dwell strictly on policy, so they're essentially lobbying institutions, and others, they dwell more on capacity building or these training programs. So it really is a decision that you need to make, and it's a strategic decision on what your membership base is looking for. The fourth and final function, I would say, is business development. Again, a function that is not limited to business associations or confederations such as TURKONFED, but it's an important function that I think the membership base looks for. So these four functions, as I said, it depends on which country you're on, what your membership is looking for, but I mean, these are the four functions at least I know of that the business confederations, associations, or regional chambers can fulfill. And you might take all four of them, or you might decide to dwell on one of them, but these are all, I think, essential functions that regional or national institutions can help with their members. And I'll stop there. These are some of, I think, the main functions that we can discuss further on, and thank you. These are my initial remarks.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And so we're going to hand the microphone over to Ms. Olena Shyrokova, Vice Chairwoman of the ICC UAE Commission on Trade and Investment.
Thank you, Michael. It's a pleasure and honor to be a speaker, to be invited as a speaker in this very important event for Ukraine. And I would like to make a short, brief introduction about myself. My name is Olena Shyrokova. I am Vice Chair of ICC UAE Commission on Trade and Investment. Also, I am the head of the corporate in Arda Group, and recently I have been elected and appointed as head of legal affairs in Ukrainian Business Council in UAE. I'm Ukrainian. I am graduated from Ukrainian Taras Shevchenko National University, and as well I hold LLM in International Law from Middlesex University. If I may briefly introduce ICC and why this organization attracted me to join as a member. The International Chamber of Commerce is existing in more than 100 countries, and it's well known as World Business Organization. with a membership across the world and with having more than 45 million members from all business sectors, from smallest to large international, from the businesses, and is truly doing a wonderful job of the trade facilitation and creating the businesses. And in fact, motto and I would say goal of the International Chamber of Commerce in general is to make business work for everyone, every day and everywhere. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And then we had a late substitution, so Onur Onulu from TURKONFED will talk next.
Thank you. Thank you once again for inviting me over. We have talked about energy, energy efficiency, renewable energy, nuclear power, all those aspects in a couple of panels before. I'm also chairperson for Green Transition Committee in TURKONFED, so I would like to emphasize on the things that we try to do with the Commission. So what we do basically, as Arda mentioned, we represent over 50,000 companies, and as I told before, the world ecosystem is now changing. It's moving to more emission-free world, if I put it correctly. So in this new ecosystem, we are trying to help companies within Turkey to make their green transition as smoothly as possible, as less painful as possible, due to the fact that these new laws, new legislations such as carbon border adjustment mechanism in the European Union, those create quite a lot of question marks in the heads of all the investors in Turkey, not only in Turkey, maybe all parts of the rest of the world. So what we are trying to do is, first of all, we make seminars, training programs to teach, if we put it right, to teach the companies how they can handle it, what would be the steps to go to a green transitional period. On top of that, we try to show them it's not something to be afraid of. So usually companies think that these sort of transitions need too much investment and it's quite difficult to handle, but we try to show them the positive sides of these transitions, the opportunities, because when you do the green transition as fast as possible, as smooth as possible, then it creates more export opportunities in the European Union area. This not only affects your revenue increase, but also helps you reduce your costs because you reduce utility consumption, you reduce energy consumption, so all your costs are going down. So this is something we try to do as a confederation. We also work with other associations such as Turkish Business Association, TÜSİAD, Business for Goals platform with TÜSİAD and UNDP. So with all those associations, NGOs, confederations, we try to work as a team to help all sizes of companies to do this transition as smooth as possible. These will be my starting remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll have Igor Stefanov, with CEO of Invest Moldova, and I got to watch your panel yesterday, and that was wonderful.
Yep. Hello, Michael. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for the invitation. I represent Invest Moldova agency. We are under the government and the Prime Minister office. Despite I'm a state servant, I come from the private sector, and I do believe that business is the most important part of our society. They usually are helping us to achieve new ages, and to, especially the last 3 years, they have a lot of problems and concerns. So that's why we have made several actions during the war. First of all, I think in the first week, we have organized the Dialogue Pro Business, We have launched a discussion panels on each economic sector that we have. It's approximately 14 strategic economic sectors. We ask them what are the problems to have a screening of all the solutions that we have. Then with that paper, we have shared this with our government and our state institutions. That allows us to come with a lot of strategic ideas in order to change the legal framework, to facilitate some actions during the war, especially in business continuity is one of the most important problem at the moment. The supply chain, the second part that is really hard for us because 60% of our border is with Ukraine, and definitely the logistics, the raw material that we are in the past were coming through or via Ukraine. Ukraine was one of the major partners in terms of import of our country. More than 600 millions we were importing from Ukraine. If to compare what we exporting, it was only 60. So in terms of fertilization of all the food security of our country was under the question. All the real estate market is still under the big pressure. So we tried to identify all the problems. To communicate first of all, because the first 2 weeks it was a lot of fear in the business community, and to calm the spirits, to have a direct dialogue and aftercare, not only to the investor that are present on our market, but also to the local business, and to try to find the new markets, new suppliers, and also to facilitate all the goods that are coming from Ukraine to European market. Now all our borders are full of trucks from Ukraine. We also have managed to discuss with European Union and Romania to facilitate the border procedures and the custom procedures, and we are now developing 4 new custom points at the border of European Union. So we have a lot of solutions, and I think also the most important part that we should do is the synergy between all the countries that are on today and yesterday at the panels. I mean, from Finland to Baltic countries, Poland, Romania, Bulgaria, Turkey, and to help our neighbors to fulfill their potential and to become again a great and successful country.
Great, thank you very much. And last on the introductions is Temez Bezmez, Head of Project and Business Development, French Chamber of Commerce in Turkey.
Thank you, Michael. Hello, everyone. So this is Temuz Bezmez from French Chamber of Commerce. I have previously worked at the Foreign Economic Relations Board of Turkey, DEIC, and then United Nations Economic Commission for Europe. Now I'm at the French Chamber. So we are a platform basically for French companies that are already invested in Turkey, and also Turkish companies that want to export or want to settle in to French market. And well, basically, besides all the main activities that all business associations do, 2 main themes that are being focused on, well, of course, between Turkey and the European Union. And first, this is modernization of the customs union agreement that has been signed in 1996. And secondly, as Onur Bey said, adapting all Turkish businesses to Green Deal, which is becoming much more important in these years. So we are working towards these 2 themes, these 2 topics. And basically, of course, maybe as you know, there's a strong French presence in Turkey. There are many French economic institutions that are already present in Turkey, and France is the first foreign country that Ottoman Empire has established commercial relations. So French presence is vast in Turkey. So we are collaborating more often with the Business France, French Development Agency, AFD, and Economic Service of French Consulate, and many other Turkish business associations, such as the French network of TUSIAD. So, yeah, very briefly.
Oh, great. So I think what the purpose of the panel, we had caught them up and talked about, how are regional chambers dealing with cross-border interactions, and there were a number of questions that we postulated at the beginning. Most of everybody's introductory remarks actually covered a lot of those things. But I think what we'd really like to try and put together are the opportunities. We've had a great panel. This is a great 2 days, and we've learned a lot. And so I'm going to start with Olena and really ask her, what are the opportunities that you think that'll emerge from the crisis, and how can these opportunities be harnessed?
Thank you, Michael. You know, what I will start, I think, from the, of course, if I'm stating from ICC. Yeah, oh, sorry, it's better?
Better?
Regarding the work, you know, much things has been done and many things still has to be succeed. But for instance, ICC rules underpin every single letter of credit transaction every day, financing billions of dollars of trade between the countries. But you know, I will tell you, like, my major concern in this context of the world of trade is for the people. The people who depends for their livelihood, you know, and even survival of the moment of the goods cross borders. We have heard the challenging economic factors, so well articulated is this great event. As well, we have heard about negative consequences, you know, of the supply chain challenges. But my biggest concern, you know, and my biggest worry is for many people in so many countries that are now facing the challenges of hunger, with the outlook even for much greater number of people living below the poverty line. You know, so this is my biggest concern, and from my point of view, will be much more important than any points highlighted before. And as we know from the last updates, they are pending signing the contract for that. You know, and what's more, even I will tell you, is in emerging, you know, and the action. I will tell you that developing markets, the important for food is mission is very critical. Food. I don't speak about the general food supply, you know. I'm speaking about the basic food, you know, for wheat for bread, you know, and other staple sunflower oil and corn. If you speak generally, let's have a look, you know, if to combine Ukraine and Russia export, you know, and account for about 25% of world wheat export, 50% of sunflower, and maybe around 15% of the corn. I will not definitely identify the destination of the exports, but I will tell you this is the countries with huge populations, large populations, where the poor in aftermath already and of the pandemic already suffering and struggling a lot. So this is. So what I can tell you, yes, you know, like I have many concerns, but my main concern is the disruption of the supply of basic food to countries and people in need. And I hope today we will receive the news also, which will cover this. It's very sensitive, you know. For me, businesses is okay, but human life matters more than anything in this life, you know. Thank you.
No, very well said. And I'm going to actually move on to Igor, because one of the other things we've learned about the last couple of days is the tremendous amount of resources that are available. So the things that, you know, I'm noting coming from the United States coming here is there's a tremendous amount of resources. So Igor, why don't you talk about some of the resources you're seeing that, say, small businesses can do or people can start planning now to do, because the time is now to get started on the next Marshall Plan.
In my opinion, a lot of resources should be now concentrated to infrastructure and logistics in this part of Europe, I mean Ukraine, Moldova, because it will facilitate a lot the speed of doing business. Second, definitely that's true, not only big business must be helped, but also small and medium enterprises. So that's why we need a lot of business linkaging events and networking events to connect all of them. So that's why I was talking about some synergies between all our countries. Now we must be united because usually as an IPA, as an investment agency, we are competing to each other, but now we must find solutions and to grow together and to attract together newcomers and new investors.
Wonderful. And then for Temez, you had mentioned that a lot of your work is working with French companies and Turkey. the question is, what types of things can you translate over for working with Ukraine companies or French companies and Turkish companies, since you wind up sitting at a wonderful intersection of the EU, Turkey, and Ukraine?
Well, that's a good question. Well, first of all, I can briefly say that we are witnessing two important themes: that nearshoring and regionalization of businesses. So, what I would say from this standpoint, that Turkey is becoming a more kind of hub for European businesses, and especially for French businesses that want to move out, especially from China or other Asian countries. So at this point, European companies and also French companies, we are receiving a lot of demands maybe every day. So Turkey can be a good as of today, for example, we have seen Turkey intermediating between in the war, and Turkey, on the other hand, can be an intersection point, as you said, for European and French businesses that are making decisions to settle into Turkey. So therefore, Turkey can use this as to be closer to the Ukrainian businesses.
Wonderful. So the next question I have is for Onur. And I think we'd learned earlier we were talking about green energy earlier, and then creating some good, world building 2.0, net zero buildings, looking at infrastructure. And I guess the question is, with all of those new programs, the capacity building that needs to come along with that. Can you talk about what you've done in the last couple of years about capacity building and how that can get translated going forward?
Definitely. Russian invasion on Ukraine is devastating, but obviously it's going to end up someday, hopefully soon, and the country will recover with the infrastructure like you mentioned, and that's going to create a possibility to change or to construct new buildings which are like net zero energy buildings, or new factories like we have discussed earlier on in the other panels, where they use less energy, or they have their own renewable energy sources on the roofs or on the green fields. So it's there is a huge potential there as well. What we are trying to do as for capacity building is that not only we mention the companies, the great opportunities there, but also we try to encourage them on these applications. What we do basically as a confederation, we do their carbon footprint calculations. We assist them on the way to become more greener production. We try to assist them utilize their raw material usages. We try to help them on every aspect of this green transition period. And what we see on the field is that we came a very good way. And in mid-September, we are organizing this event in Ankara, where we are also going to present the outcomes that we generated from the field studies throughout Turkey, and turn it into a policy offering to the government and the other political parties for the future recommendations. So this is what we are trying to do, because from our understanding, every country has its own ethics or its own way of doing business. So something good in United States or Europe does not mean that it's going to work perfectly here in Turkey. So what we are trying to do is also trying to adapt how it can be handled within this country and within the surrounding countries as well.
Great, thank you very much. And I'm going to ask Olena this question because earlier today we were learning about the financing of the rebuilding of Ukraine and the Marshall Plan 2.0. But one of those pieces that came about was that there's roughly $1 trillion set aside and available for this rebuilding. But on the implementation side, for the small medium businesses, the capacity building that maybe ICC can help them with is applying for that funding or applying for these grants. So is that something you might be able to speak on?
Yeah, sure. I will start first of all regarding what to add the information on the previous question regarding in short that from ICC and what we can do and what exactly we are doing for that. You know, in the short, the origin of the merchants of peace, you know, of ICC, we can take positive steps to facilitate the trade and investment. And as well as the UAE is everyone knows that, especially right now, is the fastest growing trade hub connecting the world markets. So like this wonderful event here today, we are trying to bring the key stakeholders together in the UAE to develop the trade facilitating rules and standards and to leverage advanced technology. And for example, ICC UAE, we organized the Global Trade Facilitation Summit in March 2022 with the key stakeholders present for a full week of deliberations and trade connections. What about the future and what we can do? You know, we are already on the advanced stage of preparation for ICC UAE Global Trade Facilitation Summit 2023 in Dubai. And previously, as you understood from my speech, you know, one of the agenda, I will put the food security supply chain. It will be the central. So I would be happy to welcome the delegates and the businesses to join our Global Trade Facilitation Summit because there will be highlighted not only the trade, global trade, also the investment part, and as well as to rebuilding the Ukraine. As you said, this is already, I will reply on the part of from Ukrainian Business Council, because mostly here is to attract and to find the right spot and the right bridge for the investment in trade globally as ICC UAE.
Great, and I'm going to ask a similar question to Igor about helping the SMEs, but also you're looking at kind of a broader, you know, Black Sea area with trade of Moldova and Ukraine.
I was thinking, by the way, about last question still now, because I think we should find or we should establish an implementation unit. There will be a lot of money we need an access to that money. So that definitely we need at the international level to establish an implementation unit that will help all these entities. Maybe it will be ICC. I don't know, but definitely the small business enterprises and all the businesses in our region, they need an access to the money. They need to improve their capacities and in order to find new solutions, to find new markets, to find new customers. So that's true. That's the most important things that we must do next to this event.
Wonderful. So, Temez, the question about, I guess, as you bring larger companies in and out to new markets, how does that and why is that important? Because we were talking beforehand about the small to medium businesses that come behind those. So if you're building a new ecosystem, and I think that's what you've been working with the French Chamber of Commerce in Turkey. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, for large companies and also for SMEs, I think there are many themes that are appearing more interesting actually. Well, first of all, I can start with companies who value-added export is becoming incredibly important for the stability and sustainability of developing economies, because in every developing country, trade remains an engine of growth. And secondly, good governance is becoming more important, both for SMEs and both for large companies. And companies and especially governments need to rebuild and restore the trust and need to manage more efficiently. That is becoming more important. And companies, both SMEs and large companies, tend to become more successful if they manage to integrate into their regions and if they manage to diversify their markets. And they tend to become more successful. And lastly, I can also say that resilience again is becoming important for both both for SMEs, because I don't want to make a distinction between in SMEs and large companies, because every things I think I stated is becoming more important for those companies, and resilience, and also as Onur Bey mentions, adapting to new low carbon emission deals, and then adapting fast and quick is highly important for both range of companies.
Wonderful. And so, Arda, my question, or kind of follow-up on that, is as we're looking at needing national policies and how for rebuilding and institutional level, we had heard from the chairman of ICC this morning talking about being brought into the table at the topmost level. How important are the chambers of commerce and the leaders of the chamber of commerce needing to fit in that ecosystem as these things are rolled out?
I'll come to that question, but if I may just very briefly touch on the SME point and also the opportunities. I'll just take a minute if that's okay. The reason why I want to focus on that is because more than 90% of our members are from SMEs. And all of the programs that I mentioned, the functions, if you might remember in my initial remarks, are all geared towards small and medium-sized enterprises, including Onur's program on the green transformation. And I'll tell you why. Because those are that's the target group that's in need. When you look at Coca-Cola or when you look at Unilever, you name it, they have access to capital, access to finance, they have access to human resources, they already have the best people working, they already can hire the best consultants and, strategizing. But when you look at just a small and medium-sized enterprise, they don't have access to finance, they don't have access to information. And that's where institutions like TURKONFED, that's where institutions like ICC come in, to really serve as a beacon of light, to hold from their hands and help them go through tough times and adapt to the new situation, whether it be the Green Deal or digitalization and so forth. So I think we're coming to the end. That's why I want to make a very strong remark where I think everyone in this room, coming from all across these regional chambers of commerce, is that SMEs need a special focus, and they're the ones who actually need the real attention. It doesn't matter if it's in Ukraine or if it's Chicago. I think you all will agree on that. Now, another point, which is the opportunities. I'll take 1 minute there and then I'll conclude, if that's okay.
That's fine. I think we all have lawyers on the panel, so
All
we're
right.
trained in that.
All right, thank you. Now, again, I think we can all agree that this is not the first crisis. It's not going to be the end of the crises, right? I mean, we went through the COVID crisis. We're still witnessing the residues of this COVID crisis. Now, this crisis in Ukraine and many more to follow. I think if I need to make if I need to pick one single word on the opportunity, is adaptation. And I think we all believe in evolution in this room. If we're believers in evolution, I think we can agree that out of these crises, we not only need to have our businesses adapt, their skills of adaptation to be increased, but also our governments. So business, governments, NGOs, chambers, put the whole lot in there. I think we all need to come out of this rethinking about our position in our specific countries, in our specific regions, and the globe at large, on how we can adapt our business models in adapting to this new norm. You spoke about the situation in Moldova, you spoke about the situation in Ukraine, and same with the French-Turkish businesses, and we coming from the Turkish side. I think we all have different risks and different opportunities, but the one thing, if I need to single out, is we all need to adapt. We need to diversify our business models. We need to diversify the way of thinking in adapting to this new norm. So, should I stop there, or?
Yeah, I'll have you stop there.
Okay.
But I'm going to let each of our other panelists kind of get the last word and really kind of come under the idea of what have we missed.
Right.
One piece that we had talked about earlier too was about how all of this is going to be insured. How are, when business owners who invest, they want to know what's their downside. So I don't know how to best bring that into everybody's concluding remarks, but that was the big piece that I missed earlier was how is all this risk going to be insured? And so, Onur, I'm going to start with you and then work across the panel. And these will also be your concluding remarks. So,
Okay, thank you. I mean, if you are in a business world, you need to invest. You cannot stop. So the only thing, like Arda said, you need to adapt to the changes. You need to adapt. So now the ecosystem is changing, as I told you before. Now you cannot stop. You need to find a way to avoid risks or to minimize risks and to try to see the opportunities besides that. Like we have talked on the energy panel, all the investments like a couple of years ago with their payback times over 5-10 years, now they are all feasible because of the high energy prices. So today it's time to invest on these sort of new systems. So as a business point of view, we have the opportunities, we need to minimize risks, but we can never stop investing. So that's my final remark, I guess.
wonderful. So, Temez?
Well, I can conclude with maybe I don't want to echo all the panelists and bring in maybe another topic. And well, what we see besides all the things that we've discussed, what we see is that in recent years, I believe the geopolitics is causing more trouble and more cost. But on the other hand, playing a much bigger role in the global economy. And secondly, since 1990s, we are in a hyper sophisticated, interconnected, interdependent world. But on the other hand, in recent years, we have seen that this connectivity also can lead to a catastrophe. And also, so I can briefly conclude with the importance of analyzing geopolitics, and secondly, the hidden risks inside the connectivity. Thank you.
Great. So, Olena, so what else have we missed? And your concluding remarks.
Okay, thank you. I would like to highlight, like all the panelists mentioned already, the points which we should put attention on when we are doing the investor and how to protect the investment. But from our side, already like head of legal in Ukrainian Business Council in Dubai, I can tell you that we are putting lots of effort for our Ukrainian also businesses and foreign investors as well, by creating right now, since February, we are trying to create the webinars, seminars, lectures, events regarding such important like investment rate, export, even franchise. It was very important to discuss upon request, And even so, we are trying now to create the special club, business club only for Ukrainians. We will, I think, launch that in September if everything is going well, and also some countries or Europe. So to ensure there will be special experts inside which will guide, especially small and medium-sized business. As it was mentioned before, large business is already going in the right steps and the strong steps, but small business and medium business, they need our help and support. So in this stage, we just need to support from our background and what we have already came through, So this is what we can do, and this is what we do from our side. And supporting investors is just ensuring the right stage and the right projects inside. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And so finishing off the concluding remarks is Igor.
Yeah, thank you very much. I was thinking that definitely, and we know everybody that next year and 2024 definitely will be one of the hardest in terms of economic in our history. And it will be very hard, and we understand, but we must anticipate through communication, through collaboration, must anticipate and to find solutions, to find some, let's say, economic pillows for the new economic order that will begin. We must be united, we must find all the proper solutions, especially as I'm coming from a small country that are really affected of everything. We are 2.6, a little bit more than Chicago, million of population. And we have been very affected by the war. And we are now and definitely that's in what I'm looking at our economy. We were fast affected than the rest of the countries because that's the chain how it have gone. And I do believe that we must have a very targeted approach to each economic sector. Definitely the services is the fastest that they are going to develop in the future, but also we must help sustainable business in order to develop a good and sustainable future for all the companies in the region.
Wonderful. And so this is going to conclude our panel, and we are the last session. So we're going to have our concluding remarks now. And I did want to thank Tristan for inviting me to come moderate. It has been definitely a trip well worth it coming from Chicago to Istanbul. They don't let me out much, so this is my first trip to Europe, and I was very lucky to get to the other side, so I actually got to Asia as well. So I got a two for this time. So again, let's give it a hand for our panel, and thank you, everybody. Pictures, and then I'm sure they will come up and release us. Stand on the chair. I'm so short. Okay, you put me in the middle because I'm the shortest. Just us or all of us? All right. I'm gonna. Thank you. Thank you. Is that good? You guys enjoy the panel?
Let me take your.
I'm working in Ukraine in security sector.
I do.
Lana, maybe Lana. Lana. I'm working.
So let's exit so we can
Yeah,
go to
sure.
concluding remarks.
Sure. Should we go over there?
Yeah.
Well, believe it or not, we are there. So thank you all for very interestedly following this wonderful 2 days of discussion about our beloved Ukraine with all our wishes. It is now time to first and foremost acknowledge you as participant, acknowledge the participants who sat on the panels and the moderators, but also the institutional sponsors who made this wonderful event possible. So I will read them out in some quasi-alphabetical order, if you like. First and foremost, this wonderful venue, and if you haven't seen the museum part, I had a brief chance and I was literally blown over, flabbergasted what a fantastic displays that they have, and I will certainly be back to have a full view of that. So Atlas Cinema and its leadership, its management, thank you very much. Baltic accounting experts, creative team, Dimesh is not present here today, Gugnor Law, Hulanichki Bednarek, Nazalolo, Playtech, Serka International, Simet Bileşim Technology, Trimble, Doğuş İnşaat, Atlas Cinema Museum, as I mentioned. I would like to invite now a person who played a key role in putting all this event together and delivering all these arrangements. Mr. Sinan Bedir, please come and join me. And Sinan, a round of applause. I also would like to invite the three dedicated, committed, and passionate supporters of Ukraine. Burak Pehlivan, please join here. Gennady Chiziko, dear friend, please come. And Alfred, please also join us. You're there? I see now. So, I'll leave it to you. Sinan, here's the mic.
Come. Okay. May I take the list? List of the names. We are giving thanks to the place owner, Atlas Sineması. We are calling Mr. Ceyhun is here. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And the second one, Baltic accounting experts. You are not here? Okay, thanks to them. Creative team. Anyone? Okay, thank you. And Times? No. Gugnor Lao. Any representative? Okay. Hulanichki Betnaring? No. Nazali Lao? Any responsible? No. Playtech? Okay. Circa? Okay. And me, I'm here. Thank you. And Trimble? Any responsible guy? Okay. Thank you for all. And thank you to joining with us. And Mr. Okay, Mr. Burak, please.
Thank you very much,
Words.
Sinan Bey. We have already finished such a great event after 2 days hard working, networking. As I mentioned during my speeches during the forum, it has been one of the best events, business events about Ukraine. And it was the first business event after Russia has launched its invasion, its war in Ukraine. Almost 1,000 business people from more than 20 countries gathered in Istanbul. And during these 11 excellent panels, more than 70 speakers shared their vision, their opinions about Ukraine, about reconstruction of Ukraine, about rebuilding Ukraine, and facilitating trade and logistics. And as a great coincidence today, just maybe 15 minutes ago, thanks to mediation efforts of Turkey and United Nations, already signed Green Corridor in Black Sea. What does it mean? It means 27 million tons of grain, sunflower and sunflower oil can safely move through Black Sea from Black Sea ports of Ukraine and can reach needed people all over the world. And I would like to say thank you, Mr. Genedishukov, President Shyrokov, about his efforts, because he was the first businessman, he was the first chairman of a business association, chamber, who mentioned it openly, publicly, and supported that initiative. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I really want to say thank you, all organizers, all contributors, all sponsors. I don't want to say all people name by name because Mr. Shevkajunar and Mr. Sinan Bedir did it. But really from my heart, from my mind, I'd like to say thank you for everybody. Thank you everybody which gave the possibility, the opportunity to organize such an important forum in such a great city in Istanbul. Especially I would like to say my colleagues from ICBAC, because ICBAC, International Council of Business Association and Chambers in Ukraine, it was maybe one of the unique examples of gathering 10 business associations from and chambers from 10 different countries. And today, if we are here, with a splendid audience, maybe one of the main reasons causes that ICBAC created such a suitable platform, suitable ecosystem, and started his efforts 5 years ago. I would like to say, of course, Mr. Sinan Bedir and International Trade Council, which is initiator and developed this project together with the Ukraine Invests. And I would like to say, of course, a part of ICBAC, but besides ICBAC, the largest Ukrainian business associations, Ukraine Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And I would like to say thank you, all Ukrainian institutions, all Ukrainian government agencies supported that initiative. And of course, our government agencies, our ministers who support that organization. I hope it would be not the last business event in the near future in Istanbul about Ukraine, and including in different countries and cities. Such kind of initiatives, such kind of platforms will continue support and contributed Ukrainian efforts to be resilient and to have better and bigger economy, even under the harsh conditions of the war. World business community, we all together stand with Ukraine. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is not much to say after this very comprehensive wrap-up by Burak. Let me have just some words on behalf of ICBAC as speaker of ICBAC today, where both Gennady and Burak are members. I'm happy to have been here. I was really positively surprised that this event developed into a major event with high quality panels, with high quality audience, and I may say that I will propose, and I already had done so, maybe we can do this as a sure fix every year, maybe at the same time. There is a Lugano conference, there is the European Forum ICBAC, there is Davos, so why not have a Ukraine Forum every year, for example, in Istanbul, to create a sure fix. And if that's the case, I'm absolutely sure that next year it will even be better than this year. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dear friends, dear colleagues, I'm a little bit nervous because I have a feeling that 2 days of communication is finishing. Sometimes people ask me, what is happiness? I say communication. It's no better than communication, when in the one premises, people from different nations, different positions, etc., but we're sitting on the table, sitting in this hall just for what? To discuss what's very important for everybody. Peace, future, and trade, etc. But everybody say a lot of these things what's doing us successful depends on the situation on Ukraine. And I'm very happy and very glad what today we can say very clear, and I will go home with very clear message. Practically all the world, all participants who was here will continue support Ukraine, will continue support freedom, support independence, and the future of the world. What we united, and this meeting, this conference, united us. Thank you very much. I also would like to say what in Ukraine people, business would like to continue their fight against the enemy who came our motherland, who came our land. Because it's very strange, in the 21st century, we're speaking about the territory. In 21st century, we need to speak about innovations, green energy, about what's collected people. But from sometimes we feel and felt that something from this situation you came from the last century, probably so from the middle of the last century. It's pity. But I'm absolutely sure, I would like to continue what Alfred said. Next year, at the same time, I invited you in the Chamber of Commerce of Ukraine, in the center of city, where we organize similar conference, where we will speak about some results, about the new possibilities, and I'm absolutely sure what I will see, all you, and for you it will be very interesting what we speak 1 year ago and what we will speak one year later. Thank you very much for your kind desire to support, and I'm absolutely sure that today during all panels, participants, speakers, experts said very concretely, we need concrete not only plans but new deals, what we needed to do today in this direction. And today I have a big interview for our national TV, and very clear sent a message what today it was a very interesting, very strong forum where the businesses from many countries, experts from many countries spoke about the future of the world, about the economy and the Ukraine. And Ukraine can play a very important role in this, in many things. And today also very important day because we very hope today will be signed agreement. We very hope everybody would like to see what it gives a chance for Ukrainian exporters to be useful, if I can say, to save many countries from position of the food security. Thank you very much, organizers. I like sorry, I would like to say some organizers like from International Trade Council, but sometimes we had very difficult talkings, but results more important. Results is very positive, and thank you all participants who is with us, who was during these days, and let's go forward. Slava Ukraini, тільки вперед. Thank you.
Thank you, joining with us. Thanks to Mr. Tristan Evans, Mr. Dr. Tristan Evans. Thanks to you also. Aile fotoğrafı için.
Hep beraber fotoğraf alalım. Buyurun lütfen. Please. To the seat. Şöyle lütfen. Şevki abi, Şevki Bey yok mu? Sinan Bey. Şevki Bey. Şevki abi. Şevki Bey. Most of them. You should go here because the Alfred and Gennady, because woman first row. Please, you as well.
Where?
First row.
Where is it?
First row. Lady in the middle.
Hey,
can put the chairs and stand up. You are tall.
Yeah, I don't need this.
Yes, but you can go here. No. Ali'ciğim arkada kaldım. Hadi gel. Hayır abi. Thank you very much. Oldu ya. İş bitti değil mi? Başkan. Ha? Kalk çıksınlar.
Yes. Stay active. Stay active. Come to toilet. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.